It is Wednesday, October 20th, episode 323 of Worship Live. We're sure glad that you joined us today. We're going to go back to Worship Live 28. Robert and Joyce are going to lead us in worship. It's been really cool, James, getting some of the comments because we're missing having Robert and Joyce live, but some of the folks have written and said, wow, you went back to the beginning, and the songs that they did that particular day were so timely for where I am right now, so that's really neat. Psalm 41-3 are Robert's favorite life verses. I waited patiently for the Lord to help me, and he turned to me and heard my cry. He lifted me out of the pit of despair, out of the mud and mire. He set my feet on a solid ground and steadied me as I walk along. He has given me a new song to sing, a hymn of praise to our God. Many will see what he's done and be amazed. They will put their trust in the Lord. Let's worship with Robert and Joyce.
We are just looking forward to what God is going to do as we gather and as we think about him. As one of the things that Bill has offered Keswick staff is that we would have this Zoom meeting where we would have, we discuss how to cope in this coronavirus. Because as we are reaching out to other people, obviously there's concerns that we have on our hearts as well. And in one of the meetings just this past week, Lynn, who's leading the group, suggested to us that we use this time to see how God is going to change our lives. How am I going to be changed? What is God going to do through my circumstances to change me? And that's what I've begun to look at. And I know God has put us on this path. He's put us on every path in our lives. And as we can look back, we can see his hand in all things that we've experienced. And I'm so glad that we can trust him today. And maybe at the end of the day, we can say, Lord, what have I learned today more about you? The world tries to give me reasons why I shouldn't serve the Lord. They say don't believe it if you can't touch or see it. It must not be worth living for. But they can say what they will, 'cause my hope is built on more than the eyes can see. And I'm here to say this is the only life for me. And the longer I know him, the more that his peace is abiding in me. And my faith is deeper now than when I first believed. Though the path where he leads me may not be easy, sometimes I don't understand. Oh, I just have to say, this is the only life for me. Now I am not saying that all of my days have turned out right. I have my share of trouble when life is a struggle. The sun just refuses to shine. But in my darkest hour, I find his power. He gives me the strength I need. And I'm here to say, this is the only life for me. And the longer I know him, the more that his peace is abiding in me. And my faith is deeper now than when I first believed. Though the path where he leads me may not be easy, sometimes I don't understand. Oh, I just have to say, this is the only life life for me. Oh, I'm here to say this is the only life for me. Well, my mom has been diligently working on quilts, and that was one of her last projects before this whole thing got shut down, she was one of those last people to run to Joann's Fabrics to get the supplies she needed so she could quilt through COVID-19. And so I wonder what you've been doing to keep busy. What have you been doing? I know cross stitch has come back. It's a big deal. And you have to send us pictures of some of the things you've been working on. One of my favorite verses of Scripture says in 1 Thessalonians 11 and 12 says, we should work with our hands and mind our own business. And it's really good advice. So I don't know what you're doing to keep yourself busy, but one time we heard the story about Corrie ten Boom, and she would share a tapestry, and she would show you the front and the beautiful work on the front, but then she would turn it around and she would show you the backside and all the knots and the strings going all different directions. And she would say, we sometimes look at the underside, we see all the things that are wrong and all the knots and twists, and we don't see the finished work. And God knows the finished work in our lives. We see the knots and the twirls. We don't know what God's plan is and why God has allowed this. But we know we can trust Him because He is the weaver and He allows everything in our lives. And He wants to work it to make something beautiful. Allow Him to make something beautiful of your life. Have you ever watched a weaver working at the loom? And he weaves a lovely tapestry with threads of many hues, each one a perfect pattern, each thread a perfect shade. That's how our Father gently shapes the children He has made. You see, my life is just a weaving between my Lord and me, and I cannot change the colors He chooses lovingly. Sometimes He weaves in sorrow, and I in foolish pride forget He sees the finished work, and I the underside. Not till the loom is silent and the shadows cease to fly shall God unroll the tapestry and explain the reason why the dark threads are as needful in the weaver's skillful hands as the threads of gold and silver in the pattern He has planned. Now when the trials of life unravel the fabric of our plans, and we face the deep confusion of painful circumstance, when our feeble strength is broken and we stand with empty hands, that's when the Father whispers, trust the pattern I have planned. Without those trials, we'd never learn the promise of His word, that all things work together for them that love the Lord. And someday in His presence, when His glorious face we'll see, we'll wear our finished
All right, James, let's rehearse. We've got a lot of activities and a lot of exciting
We got a lot
things
coming up.
So, wow, let's go through the list.
So tomorrow is Beyond Youth Night, the 21st. It starts at 6:45. It's $10 per youth group to come. Okay, so that's amazing, first off.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to have Tucker Rodkey with a ministry called Painting Freedom, sharing the Word of God through art.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that because he
wait.
teaches the message with a paintbrush.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Very unique.
Okay.
The 22nd through the 24th is our Girls Weekend Away Conference. So that's very exciting. Phyllis and Hannah Webb, mother-daughter team, are going to be here sharing the Word.
Good.
Yep.
And Dad and brother are going to be leading us in worship,
Yes.
so the whole family is going to be sharing.
very
It's going to be
cool.
great to have Rick and Parker with us.
Awesome
Okay,
weekend.
after that's over, what do we have?
So we have our Fall Family Fun Day on October 31st, the last day of the month. So we have all sorts of activities. The activity center is going to be open with the pool, with the gymnasium, with the snack shop. We're going to have hay rides. We're going to have a bounce house going, and we're going to have crafts and some worship music as well.
Great.
Yeah.
A great alternative to Halloween, so I want to encourage
Yes.
you to check that out, 1-800-453-7942. And then we're moving into November,
Yes.
and that first week is going to be crazy
Wow.
for us. So let's
Yeah.
talk about what's happening.
We had to move our anniversary banquets. So they're going to be the first, right? The first,
November
the second,
1st.
and the 3rd of November.
Okay, November 1st, we're at Yoder's, and that's going to be really, really cool.
Yeah.
First time for us to be there.
Okay.
We couldn't get the Shady Maple because we lost our
See
date,
that?
but the food there at Yoder's is going to be great.
Very cool.
And then we have lunch
We have a
here
lunch
at
here.
America's Keswick,
Yep.
12 o'clock.
Yep.
Doors open at 11:30. Dinner, concert the same,
Yes, the same day. Wow.
Doors open at 6. The meal is at 6:30. And
Yep.
then on Wednesday,
Wednesday.
where are we? Franconia Restaurant in
Thank you.
Heritage.
Yep.
Franconia Heritage Restaurant in Lansdale.
Yep.
And who's going to be with us for our banquets?
This is, I was just at a moment, Naya and Alicia Merrill.
Good.
It's gonna
We
be
love
awesome.
the Merrills. They've
Yeah.
been a great, our folks have really come to love and appreciate them. They're going to be doing the music. There'll be testimonies from the colony
Yes.
and Barbara's Place, just celebrating 124 years of God's faithfulness. So if you've not made a reservation for the banquets, I want to encourage you to call 1-800-453-7942. There is a charge for Yoder's for the 2 Keswick events, but the one in Lansdale, for some reason, is a love offering.
Oh man, I'm going to that.
You go to that one, and the food there is really good. So check it out on our website, www.americaskeswick.org. And just a reminder that America's Keswick depends on friends like you to support this ministry with your gifts and with your prayers. To give a gift today, you can call 1-800-453-7942, or you can give online, www.americaskeswick.org. Donate now. When you send in a gift or call in a gift, we have a little booklet for you that was written by our good friend Dr. Ray Pritchard. It's called When You Feel Like Giving Up, Encouragement for Your Soul in These Difficult Days. It's free. All you need to do is call 1-800-453-7942. Have a great rest of the day. Don't forget our podcast tomorrow with Jim Lang and Juan Mendez at 1:30. God bless. I want to thank all of you who have been following us and praying for Robert and Joyce during this past year as Robert and Joyce have walked through his journey with pancreatic cancer and then the lung cancer. Robert fought hard and came through victoriously. But the battle came to an end last night at 11:29 when he was safe in the arms of Jesus. This has been a tough couple days for Joyce and Jordan and Carter, and we're confident this morning that, this is what we're confident in. God's sovereign.
Yeah.
God's still in control.
Amen.
This did not take God by surprise. Our outcome was not the one we wanted,
Mhm.
but God ultimately gave Robert the best healing that he could give
That's
him.
what I was telling Zach. I said he's been healed perfectly.
Diane Susek often sings the song Finally Home.
Mm.
Just think of stepping on shore and finding it heaven, of touching a hand and finding it God's, of breathing new air. And I just can't help but think about this morning, James, that for the last, since Labor Day, Robert's been struggling with every breath. And this morning,
He's not.
he's not. The
struggling.
struggle's over.
Amen.
of waking up in glory and finding it home.
Thank you, Lord.
And all through Robert's life, he has prepared us for this
Yeah.
moment of knowing that at some point he was going to be worshiping his great God forever and ever and ever. He's on the other side of heaven now.
Yes.
We're still on this side
Yes,
of
we're
heaven.
here.
So I want to encourage you to pray for Joyce and Jordan and Carter. We'll post service information later in the week. But if you would like to send a card to Joyce to encourage her at this time, you can do so by sending it to America's Keswick, 601 Route 530, Whiting, New Jersey, 08759. You know what the great news is that Jesus stepped out of the tomb. He defeated
Amen.
death and sin forever because Jesus hated death.
Amen.
And we're just grateful today for our friend. And we miss him,
That's
and
right.
we love his family. Keep praying. God bless.